Welcome back! As you can see, I'm not in my usual attire today. That's because I'm discussing exercise for heart attack prevention. Sprinkled throughout this menopause education, I'll give you various exercise for particular aspects of menopause. Most of them are exercise I do myself, and I actually made up most of them myself. But today's exercises are more of a general nature. We're in the midst of a unit on heart attack. And in this video, we're going to discuss cardiovascular exercises that serve the specific purpose of preventing a heart attack. In the last video, I discussed heart attack preventing lifestyle measures in general. In this video, I'm going to focus solely on exercise. Now, if you're already a gym rat, most of what I tell you today will be familiar. But if you're not part of the exercise world, you'll learn a lot. And this video could be the turning point in your ability to use exercise to prevent a heart attack. The reason I'm giving you a separate video specifically on exercise that qualifies for preventing a heart attack is because all exercise is not created equal in its ability to do so. And I would hate for you to pursue a form of exercise with the intention of preventing a heart attack only to discover later that it was inadequate. In the last video, I taught you that there are 4 necessary features of heart attack preventing exercise. Here are those 4 features again. It has to be aerobic exercise. You have to do it on a regular basis, at least 3 times per week. The exercise has to raise your heart rate to your target heart rate, and you need to maintain your target heart rate for at least 20 continuous minutes. So today, I'm going to present actual exercises that qualify. Now, I'm not going to be demonstrating them, although you'll get enough visuals to know what you need to know. The term for qualifying exercise is cardiovascular exercise, and that title alone tells you that it's good for your heart. The great thing is that there are so many different cardiovascular exercises. Even if you're not keen on exercise, I'll bet you'll find 1 or 2 that work for you. Another great thing about cardiovascular exercise is that it includes the fun stuff. Much of it involves the great outdoors, teams, competition, and things that you can do with your family or friends. So let's explore some of your options. The most obvious is good old-fashioned walking. Now, you can do this anywhere you want, on a treadmill, on the sidewalk, in a park, in the mall, on the beach, anywhere. The key is to walk briskly. If you're in the mall, it does not include shopping. It doesn't include stopping to window shop or shop. If you're on the beach, it does not include stopping to collect shells. When it comes to walking, you can do it alone or with others. You can even do it with your dog, as long as the dog is not stopping every few steps to sniff trees and fire hydrants and whatnot. Here's a treadmill. It gives you many options. You can adjust both the incline and the speed, but you don't have to put both at a high level. You can keep the surface flat and walk fairly briskly. Or you can raise the incline and walk more slowly. You'll be surprised at how much harder your heart works on an incline, even though you're moving more slowly. I choose this slow motion option for everything. I tell people I have 2 speeds, slowest and stop. I prefer less impact, and moving slowly is one way to accomplish that. But I compensate for the slow motion with a more intense level or a higher incline. And my heart doesn't know that I'm moving slowly. It's still working hard. And that's the very key to preventing a heart attack. Think of it as training for your heart muscle. With all cardiovascular exercises, your heart has to do a workout. And when it works out regularly, your heart muscle becomes stronger, more toned, and pumps more efficiently. That's what it's all about. You can even find treadmills that are specifically made for home use. The problem for most people is that they never actually use them. It's not supposed to become a clothes rack, you know. If you get one, put it in a place where you use it when you're watching television. If it's in your basement or in some corner that makes you feel like you're being punished, you won't use it. Now, if you want something a little more aggressive, go hiking. I mean, that will give you more of the great outdoors. And the terrain may be a little more variable. If you're really fit, go running. Again, you can do this however you want, on the treadmill, in the park, on a track. I can't run. My arthritis is way too bad for that. If you want something even more challenging, try a stair climber. And there are a variety of these too. Of course, there are actual stairs that you can climb, or you can use a machine. This one is like a stairwell to nowhere. You just go up and up and up. Climb and climb and climb. Hopefully you have a TV to watch or some music to listen to while you do it. I have to do it sideways because the arthritis in my knees is so bad that I can't go forward on it. And this one has pedals that you push down on without ever lifting your feet off the pedals. But it's not as easy as it looks. If you try to use any of these machines, please be sure to stand up straight. I see so many people practically lying on the machines while they exercise. I guarantee you that you get more benefit if you stand up. And if you can't stand up, then you're going too fast. Just lower the speed or the effort level. Do them at a pace that enables you to maintain proper posture. I'm really big on proper posture. One of the most popular exercise machines these days is the elliptical. There are over a dozen different types. Here are some photos of some of the various machines you'll find. There's Star Track, Precursor, Techno Gym, Nordic Track, and Life Fitness. With all ellipticals, you put your feet on individual plates and you create a striding action. Most people find them very natural. I'd say they're the most popular type of cardio equipment in every gym I've ever used anywhere in the world. The idea is to move like you're running or walking, but never lift your feet off the foot pedals. And most of them also have handles so that you can move your arms too. Elliptical machines provide a smooth gliding motion with no impact. Some have an incline feature and others don't. You'll find these everywhere. And like treadmills, there are a bunch of these that are specifically made for home use. Or maybe you prefer cycling. There are many options here too. You can ride a real bicycle outdoors, or you can ride a spin bike that is like a real bike, but it's stationary. Spin classes are everywhere and they're very popular. They play music that makes you really want to spin to the beat, and you burn quite a few calories all the while. And there are other various types of cycling machines. Some are upright bikes, just like the kind you rode as a kid. Others are recumbent bikes that make biking a little easier because your back is supported. And if seated exercise appeals to you, rowing is another good cardiovascular exercise. If you're really athletic, you might want to row on water. And if you row properly, either on real water or on a machine, it can constitute a very good aerobic workout. Speaking of water, the next exercise is swimming. But again, it's all about how you go about it. If you float on your back, it doesn't count as aerobic. Relaxing, yes. Aerobic, no. But if you swim laps, it does. And of course, the faster and more vigorously you swim, the more aerobic it is. Alternatively, there's water aerobics. Now, there are a lot of different ways to do water aerobics. You can just run in the water, or you can use equipment that is made especially for water aerobics. There are belts, barbells, and ankle weights, and they all serve to create more resistance in the water or to help you stay buoyant while you exercise. They look like this. You can find water aerobics classes and have fun with other people. And hey, you don't even have to get your hair wet if you can make sure no one splashes near you. What's next? Let's see. Oh, have you ever heard of interval training? Interval training is when you do one of these aerobic exercises for just a few minutes and then you switch to another exercise. Usually, you only continue each exercise for about 1 to 3 minutes, but you switch to the next one quickly. You don't rest in between. Interval training breaks up the monotony and you still keep your heart rate up. With interval training, all the exercises can be aerobic and cardiovascular exercises, or you can alternate between one aerobic exercise and one non-aerobic exercise like weightlifting. And interval training is fun to do in pairs or in groups. So find yourself a workout partner and you can switch off on the exercises. Here's a photo of some people doing high-intensity interval training. Somewhat similar is circuit training. Circuit training is when you go from exercise to exercise, doing each one for only 60 seconds or so. But again, you move quickly from one to the next. And because you're constantly moving, you keep your heart rate up. Here's a group of people doing circuit training. Notice that each person is doing a different exercise. And they just go round and around the circle, moving to the next exercise. These classes with circuit training are always a lot of fun. And you can always feel free to modify any exercise to accommodate your level of fitness. You should never hurt yourself. Of course, then there's kickboxing and regular boxing. Now, this is the kind of stuff I cannot do. It's just too punchy for me. But it's a great cardiovascular activity. You just have to keep moving. And do you remember the old-fashioned step aerobics? Was it Jane Fonda who used to promote this, or maybe it was, Richard Simmons? In any case, it's still around. It involves stepping up and down on and off the step. This is something most people do in a class setting to the beat of music. It's a really great workout if you're somewhat coordinated. I'm not. I provide great comic relief to the rest of the class when I do step aerobics. You can do it with weights or without weights, and it's really fun. Well, not for me. For me, it's torture. I did try step aerobics once. I was determined to get the hang of it. And there was this great aerobics instructor named Deborah, and she was just so nice. So I thought it would be perfect for me to go to her class. And on the first day of class, I gave her permission to throw me out if I was too disrupted, and I even got the consent of everyone else taking the class because I didn't want to mess them up either. They were all happy for me to join them, at least at first. I don't think any of them had any idea just how bad I was. But they put up with me, and I went to every single class for about 6 weeks. And I was always behind or just standing there watching them do what I couldn't do, or going up when they were going down, etc. And then finally one day, I actually did a move on time in the right direction with the rest of the class. Deborah got so excited that she yelled, "My baby's walking!" The entire class burst out laughing, including me. Perhaps you just like weightlifting. That's fine, but for weightlifting to be a cardiovascular exercise, you have to move a little quickly and skip the breaks. And to do that, you probably need to lighten up on the weights you use. It's easier to do with free weights like these. It's much more difficult to move quickly from one weight machine to another, and that's because you have to adjust the machine for your body each time. Of course, there's also dancing. Any kind of dancing qualifies as long as it involves continuous motion. Many women use belly dancing, ballroom dancing, country western dancing, or tango for aerobic exercise. And a very popular form of dance is Zumba. Zumba is especially ideal for a gym setting. People just love it. Unless I'm in the room. If I take a Zumba class, everyone just spreads out to give me more room because I'm so uncoordinated that I'm always going the wrong way and messing everyone else up. Oh, and by the time I figured out what they're doing, they're not doing it anymore. Happens that way every time. Next, you have most sports. Tennis, volleyball, basketball, racquetball, soccer, kickball, baseball. These are all excellent. The only issue is the breaks that are part of the game itself, but generally speaking, people who engage in sports like this do so often enough that they get their aerobic exercise needs met easily. If you're into a sport like this, I applaud you. Enjoy it as long as you can. Okay, next is yoga. Now, in general, yoga does not qualify as an aerobic activity. It's usually too slow. But there is one type of yoga that is fast enough to get your heart rate up. It's called power yoga, and it's fast moving. You will sweat, breathe heavily, and raise your heart rate with power yoga. The key with all of these activities is that they raise your heart rate, they make you breathe more heavily, they possibly make you sweat, and they make you thirsty for water. All of those things are an indication that your heart is hard at work. And there are other activities that I haven't mentioned, and you could possibly make just about any activity an aerobic cardiovascular activity. With all activities, the factor that makes them cardiovascular is how difficult you make them. But difficulty does not depend on speed. Remember, we're talking about preventing a heart attack, not losing weight. So the critical thing is that they make your heart beat faster while you're performing the activity. So this is all about the speed of your heartbeat, not about the speed of your body movement. But notice that the requirements for the exercise to raise your heart rate, make you breathe more heavily, possibly make you sweat, and make you thirsty for water, does not mean that it has to be rapid, involve high impact, or wear you out, and never should it cause injury. The idea is to make your heart work. So you can adjust the intensity on any machine to make your heart work harder without making your body move faster. If you increase the incline on a treadmill, you can still walk very slowly and get a great cardiovascular workout. And you can do the same on a stair machine, any elliptical trainer, any bike, or any rower. Just don't confuse exercising your heart with hurting your body. The bottom line is that you lower your risk for a heart attack when you engage in activities that raise your heart rate. So what I've done here today is to present the most traditional cardiovascular exercises. Just do what you prefer, but keep the goal of preventing a heart attack in mind. Here's that whole list of activities I just named. And it wouldn't be complete if I didn't include the activities that do not qualify as aerobic cardiovascular activities. So here's a list of the ones that don't prevent a heart attack if you engage in them in the way that most people do. Bowling, golfing, gardening, dog walking, Pilates, yoga, Tai Chi, ping pong, fishing, hunting, race car driving, chasing small children, cleaning house, washing the car, mowing the lawn, and cooking. You would be surprised at some of the things I have heard people try to defend as cardiovascular that are definitely not cardiovascular. Oh, and having sex can go either way depending on how and how long you do it. Really. And that does it for the exercises that qualify for preventing a heart attack. I would have loved to demonstrate them all. Well, that isn't true. There are some I absolutely have no desire to do ever. But that's part of the message. Find what works for you. You don't have to do everything. So this concludes the lifestyle options for reducing your risk for a heart attack. Next week, we'll address the vitamin, mineral, and supplement options for reducing your risk for a heart attack. And I'll teach you about the options and their limitations as always. In the meantime, subscribe, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and go to menopausetailor.me if you want to schedule a one-on-one consultation about, well, anything. I've done them for everything under the sun. Bye!